Hello, this is Robo. Hope you had a great start of the year. Just decided to make a short video about my most anticipated games of the year. This is completely unscripted. I'm not advanced enough to deal with that yet or to do anything graphically impressive. This will just be like a slide of images, and it will be my most anticipated expansions and games, or at least the ones I found out about so far. We will start out with some honorable mentions, like any professional list. So let's get this list started. So first of all, we have Dune Imperium Immortality. Expansion to Dune adds a science track and more cards, more stuff, like more of everything. Don't think it adds more leaders. This game is already out in America, but since I live in Sweden, we get this shit late, and I still wait for it to be released over here. Highly anticipated. They say it will just make the game better, but since it's already out in the rest of the world, it's an honorable mention for 2023. That's Dune Imperium Immortality. So on to the next honorable mention, Disney Lorcana, trading card game. We don't know anything about this game, except it will have colors and creatures and spells, and it's made by Ryan Miller. Disney has many characters, so hopefully this will be good, but we won't know anything before spring because they are not willing to share any information. So that was honorable mention number 2. And my final honorable mention is Heroes of Might and Magic 3. This game I actually backed on the lowest level just to get into Pledge Manager. It looks amazing. The deck building, resource management, city building, army making, dice rolling, leveling, adventuring, events, everything. It's like a massive game with tons of stuff, and it would probably take 3+ hours to play, and I won't ever get to play it, so I'm not getting this game, I think. But I'm still want it. There is a campaign for both solo and co-op, and there are PvP scenarios. And yeah, it looks great, but I don't think I will ever get to play this. That's why it's an honorable mention. And now on to the true top list. So the first one is an expansion, and I'm not sure about the order, but this is probably my least anticipated expansion, and it is the Glow expansion. Glow is a dice rolling game where you collect these little creatures and the dice that come with them, and you try to roll the dice and get the symbols or not get the symbols that are written on them, and by doing so you get more points, and you can also use points to do rerolls, which is the big gimmick of this game. Rerolling using points. You can pretty much reroll any number of times, but it will cost you points every time you do it. It also leads to these massive turns where you can do like ultimate rolls, just going crazy, wild, and going from 0 to a hero in one roll. There's also a map, but yeah, it's not very interesting. So my least anticipated of among my top 5 expansions, the Untitled Glow expansion. And Richard here is maybe from the new expansion, maybe not. Not sure what the 2 double black dice are about, and the shield. Guessing he's a new starting character. So on to the next. Lost Ruins of Arnak, second expansion. So this expansion was supposed to come out this year, but it will now come out next year. It's more of everything. There are 2 more characters, the mechanic and not sure who this is, the other one. And there are more locations, more cards. It's supposedly a smaller expansion, but they haven't shown or said anything much except for the mechanic and the pilot. But we will see what else they will show, because the first expansion was insane. So this second one, I have high hopes for it. There are rumors that they were extending the board, making it into a 5-player game, but it's not confirmed. And there are rumors about more resources. But yeah, so far We don't know much about this except for the box that have been showing up at Essen. Then we go to something we know a lot more about. Jump Drive expansion, Terminal Velocity. So this expansion will add a fifth player. Jump Drive is a small hand management game where you use your cards in your hand as both resources and things you want to play. And Terminal Velocity will give you starting powers, so everyone will have their own unique starting card. And yeah, the fifth player, and then again, more stuff. And there will be, for those that are interested, they will also add a solo campaign. The solo campaign is actually by Eric Kaminsky, the other name on this box, with Tom being the main designer, uh, co-designing it with Eric. On to the next. And next we have Too Many Bones Unbreakable. This is kinda an expansion, but also a standalone game. This is a full new campaign in the Too Many Bones universe. So we have new characters like Figment and Gale, and Carcass there. He actually comes with his own cookbook. And Polaris, she comes with her own like metal rings, which is kind of crazy. So you move them around on her mat, and then they activate them, and they bounce into enemies and do different effects. It seems to be like all kinds of crazy effects in this game. You're just going all out, and this will probably be the last big Too Many Bones expansion, because they're moving on to Elder Scrolls, which will be like the Too Many Bones 2.0. I really look forward to seeing that more as well, but it's not the 2020 release, so let's keep going. And finally, Vindication expansions. This is all the content that will be coming out for Vindication. Not all of it. I have the base game content, if you see it on the screen here. That's what I own currently. And all the rest is the content that's coming now in February or January. That's a lot of stuff. And I love Vindication. It's one of the greatest games I own. I kind of regret not getting the Leaders and Alliances content the first time around, but now I'm getting it all. So yeah, also a playmat, which is not bad. It's like pretty much more than double the content. Like I have 18 different types of tiles in the base game. You're adding 16 more just in the Villages and Hamlet expansion, and one more in Chronicles expansion, 2 more in Leaders and Alliances, and they are adding 192 Chronicles cards. And every time you do, you take a regular card, you also take a Chronicles card now. Chronicles give you an option, a decision you get to make, and also adds to the lore of the game. So it's like you're telling your own story. Like, how did you meet this companion? Where did you find this loot? How did you come upon this monster, and everything like that. It's supposed to add theme to a game that people have complained has little of it. It has great art, but not much in the way of theme. And this is supposed to fix that. And also, of course, promo card packs, 15 card promo card packs. So with tons of promos, which is just actually more content in this case. It's not some sort of YouTuber or a content creator on face on a card. It's actually more cards that they wanted to make. And the Odyssey board at the bottom there, it lets you send your companions out on their own adventures, which is kind of crazy. So send them out on an Odyssey. They travel the world on their own, experience stuff, and then hopefully they survive it and come back with something amazing. And event cards also add events, and the event cards are like double the size of the normal cards. It's just crazy. I could talk about this for a whole video on its own, because I love this game, and this will just make me love it even more. Well, on to the next. And this was all the expansions, I think. So yeah, on to the first new game. Also, this is a bit of a stretch, because this is not a completely new game, actually. This is a standalone sequel that's compatible with the base game Ascension Tactics Inferno. So, Ascension Tactics was on Kickstarter last year, and I passed on it because I'm not a huge fan of Ascension anymore. I think it's too basic and too random, and actually, honestly, broken. And then when they made Ascension Tactics, I was like, yeah, not really sure about this. And also, it's an arena game. I can't get arena games to the table, and the idea that I can't get arena games to the table is just based on the fact that I can't get my Magic the Gathering arena game to table. But earlier this year, I got into Unmatched, and boy, do I like Unmatched. But it's a bit simple. It's a bit random, but it's just fun and chaos. I've heard it with 2 versus 2, if possible, but also would never say no to playing it 1 versus 1. So Ascension Tactics feels like the natural middle ground, since it's a bit bigger. You choose, you draft your heroes at the start of the game. You draft 4 characters, and then during the game you deck build. So just like in the basic Ascension game, you deck build and use your deck to activate your heroes, buying more minions, buying better cards, buying upgrades, and all sorts of stuff. Inferno, which is coming now in January on Kickstarter, and I intend to back it as it looks right now. Pray for my wallet. And the new thing so far that showed off is that some heroes can evolve, like Emma Ironheart here. She can evolve from just a regular, decent hero, I guess, the good stats into, but not really an abilities, into this huge mech, which has an ability and just looks insanely strong. And then again, if they're bringing out with the same amount of content as in the base game, then yeah, there will be like almost maybe close to 100 heroes. But yeah, Ascension Tactics, deck building arena fighter, the only one of its kind I know about on my top most expensive new games of 2023. And now on to a completely new game, Endeavor Deep Sea. So Endeavor is a medium to heavy Euro game that came out a while ago, but I never got into it. I missed the Kickstarter, and when I wanted to try it, there seemed to be some problematic things about the team. It's a colonization team. People are not happy about that, so they're swapping it and making a new version that's supposed to be set under the sea in submarines, I guess. Which honestly is a lot cooler than what 14th century sailors. Not really sure how there's. I don't know much about the original game, except it looks cool, and this looks like it will be even cooler. And I'm happy that I waited. But yeah, this is the only picture they've shown, and it's launching on GameFound actually soon. So hopefully we'll get no more, and hopefully it's as good as it sounds. It's explore and expand, and yeah, explore, expand, explode, and not exterminate. It's like a 3x game. Yeah, 3x game. Well, on to the next. So this one will be very easy to explain. This is Point City. So Point City is a standalone sequel to Point Salad, and it looks like they're yeah. I have no idea what they're going to do. The basic is the same. Every card in the game is unique on one side, and every card has a resource on the other side. In Point Salad, there are vegetables, and here there will be ecology, community, industry, energy, economy, and ingenuity, which seems to be a wild resource. And as far as I could guess, you're supposed to you gain points for having symbols on the bottom. So if you play the treehouse, you want to have as many economy and energy cards as possible. The pocket park, want ecology, and then I guess these are at the bottom. There are randomized scoring cards. So maybe the cards themselves don't have scorings in this game, but instead there are tokens on the side. So you try to get everyone has the same scoring goal, but they build different buildings to reach those scoring goals. At least that's what I'm getting out of this, but I'm not sure. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Point City, the sequel to Point Salad. On to the next, we have Let's Go to Japan by Josh Wood. Mostly He's famous for doing Cat Lady, or Tiny City probably. I mean Tiny Towns probably even more. But yeah, for me it's Cat Lady. And Cat Lady is a very simple and fun game where you collect cats and try to feed them, make them happy. And let's go to Japan. Seems to be a drafting game where you draft cards and try to make your perfect Japanese vacation by visiting and doing as much as possible. It sounds a bit like Tokaido, I think it's called, the one where you travel from one point to the next. It's and try to get to the other side of the board while doing as many things as possible. But instead of that, it's a drafting game, and a really pretty one of that. Josh recently went to Japan himself, he says, and decided to make this game out of that. And this game has, I think, 140 something cards, and every card is unique and drawn by a Japanese artist. So it's pretty damn authentic in the art division, at least. Well, Josh is American, so it's still an American making a game about Japan. And that was no wait, sorry, there are more. Yeah, Flow. This is all we know, really. It's coming to Kickstarter this year as well. It's an action adventure game, as you can see on the screen. It reminds me a bit of my first thought was for some reason the Witcher board game that was we know about since last year, except for no deck building. It's an adventure game and it's PvP. That's actually pretty cool, in my opinion, since most adventure games seem to be cooperative these days. So, as it says here on the, as it calls it, the cell sheet, Flow will take you on a heroic journey across the iceberg sea, shows your path and leave your mark on the realm. What type of hero will you be? So you choose a hero at the start of the game, or well, one of these hero miniatures. Then you adventure, try to earn points, and yeah, learn skills, level up your character. It seems. And as it says, the first player to place all of their flow stones is the winner. So it's not about points, actually. It's about performing a mission. And also, you build buildings. Like if you look at the most to the left, you see there are building cards. So you build them in like first you build the bottom part, and then you can add a top part to it. I think you can mix and match buildings like that. And even though there are monsters in this game, it seems like there won't be any real combat. It seems like I noticed a question on Board Game Geek where they asked that do you have to kill the monsters? And he was like, no, you mostly convince them to move out of your way. So this will be a real friendly game, and I'm mostly interested in it partially because it's an adventure game that's not cooperative, and partially because of the insane art. I have not liked anything that Henry has done before, this designer, Henry Audubon. But his designs have been parks and trails, mostly, I think he's famous for, and they have been way too light for me. Way too light. But they are very well regarded games, so I'm not gonna not look at this just because he made two light games before. He's obviously a great designer. Making a light game is not easy, just as a heavy game is not easy to make. And this game looks a lot heavier. Well, at least I assume it will be heavier. There seems to be a lot more to do. But yeah, let's move on and see if there's more on my most easy bit list. No, this was actually the last. So yeah, this was all my most easy bit games of 2023 that I so far know about. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I intend to focus a lot more on my YouTube this year, or at least I hope so, and hopefully maybe even improve a bit on my videos. If you have any suggestions, please leave them in the comments, and yeah, since I'm new, I will try to answer all of it, and appreciate any tips you have on anything. And of course, if you have any tips for games, anything you want me to cover in the way of board games, or if you have your own anticipated games, I'd love to hear about it. With that, Have a good night.